We are going to switch over to our next matchup. It is Spain versus Romania. We are going to say our goodbyes to Demarch for now, and we are going to welcome in another caster for this next match. Let's welcome in Will Stetson. How's it going, Will?
Hey, I am doing pretty good. I hope you're doing well, Dio.
Doing just fine. We had a couple of really interesting matches so far in Chile versus Russia and the Czech Republic versus the Netherlands that I've been on for. I'm hoping this one delivers as well. This is sort of an interesting matchup. Two teams that are, you know, some very, very clearly good players on both of these teams, and I think a question of how well the supporting players do for either of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for Romania, obviously, all eyes will likely be on Badeu for this match, especially because he does tend to really, really shine in like earlier stage pools. But like on his skill set, very, very formidable player for just like pretty much any stage. And meanwhile, Spain, I think we do have to mention Antonio as being a very standout player for their team, probably their biggest carry as of right now. We can see if he can show his stuff against Romania coming up here.
Yeah, I would definitely agree that Antonio is their standout player so far. He has been in on just about every single map. He was in on every map last week alongside, I believe it was Estopa, actually, was also in on every map for Spain last week. So those two, really the super core two for those players. But Amborgesa and NHarmonia also going in for just about every pick, not quite every single map for Spain, but that really is their core four. They have very solid players who focus on the mechanics in general for a lot of the team. That core four is really solid on the DT mechanics and on streams where they do sub out Amborgesa instead for Hideki most of the time, which actually contrasts pretty well with what Romania tends to focus on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think we're actually going to be getting into this pretty quickly. Bans and pick order have been decided. Romania did win the roll and has opted to pick second, so we're now waiting on Romania's ban. I think we can probably not expect to see any reading maps banned. Yeah, there we go. Immediately, just DT3 banned. Kind of expected, I would say. That is one of the more mechanical DTs. And then immediately the Hidden 2 ban coming out from Spain. That is expected. I do not think that anybody wants to play Badeu on an AR8 map, especially one of such low BPM. And we're now waiting on Spain's pick.
Now, that type of map is just ridiculously Badeu favored. Super low BPM, grid snap style flask low approach rate map is just kind of disgusting for Romania right now.
Kind of a shoe-in.
Yeah, for sure. We do see NoMod 2 get picked up first by Spain. A little bit of a surprise, actually. I think that there are a couple of better picks for Spain. Generally speaking, looking at the qualifier scores, Romania actually has, you know, not a good roster, but slightly better than Spain on both of their qualifier runs. So this is a map where I think it can be definitely a toss-up. I think Spain definitely a little bit better on some of the speedier picks rather than some of the more stamina-focused picks. But, you know, clearly they know their own roster better than me. They are going with this as their first pick, and I think that this type of roster works out fairly well for them. Again, Hideki in for Amborgesa, and clearly NHarmonia not wanting to play this either. They're putting in AbejaIvan. AbejaIvan, I think?
AbejaIvan, I believe. I don't think, I think at a higher BPM, NHarmonia isn't as comfortable on the more like stamina intensive picks. But I do think that Spain's probably first strategy is just to keep Badeu out of the lobby. So while, yes, NoMod 2 might not be their immediate wisest pick, it like might be a little bit more contested. It is not a map that Badeu will play, so they think that maybe, like, I don't know, they might just want to take a point that is a bit more contested first, so they have a bit more like free picks, like during the middle of the match. I'm not really sure, but as you said, I mean, they know their roster better than we do, so we are going to see exactly how they perform here in just a minute.
One player to stand out or to look out for on the Romania side for this is definitely nanoya. Had a very, very solid performance on NoMod 2, both in the qualifiers and in the round of 32. I think if anybody's going to FC this map on Romania's side, I know a lot of people would point to Eternum as a player to do that, but I actually think it's nanoya who is probably their power player for this map. So looking to either Antonio or Estopa or Hideki to match that full combo coming out of Nanoya, and then just have that extra supporting score. Eternum definitely has the ability to pop off on this, had a 750k run in qualifiers for NoMod 2, and had a pretty solid 600k in the round of 32 as well on when they did get forced to play NoMod 2 in that matchup. So definitely no slouch on the pick. We're going to have to see how the rest of the rosters shake out. We are going to get into this first pick for Spain, though, so we'll see whether the keep badeu out of the lobby strategy works out for him.
Yeah, I will also say Chamosiala, also pretty well known for his mechanics, or at least he used to be. This is his return to OWC after taking a break last year, and I don't believe he has been performing to his standards up until this point, but I think that this is his main skill set, so we are going to see if he can sort of prove us wrong here.
Interestingly enough, also the first time we've seen Chamosiala play NoMod 2 so far this tournament. Did not play it on either of their qualifier runs or in the round of 32, so this is the first time that we see them on this slot in particular, the NoMod Stamina slot.
Yeah, this is a bit of a maybe a higher skill cap map for NoMod 2, so that might be why he's coming in. And like there is a lot more of an aim requirement for something like this rather than a like a speed requirement. It's less of a tapping requirement, more of a right hand requirement. But immediately getting into this, we are going to see a few early breaks coming out from Hideki, AbejaIvan, and Christy. AbejaIvan bringing it again.
You mentioned the aim requirement. AbejaIvan not having a good time with a lot of this flow aim. Really, that's where a lot of these drops are coming from. Either under-aiming a lot of it or aiming too far inward on some of these curves, and it is just really showing in the score. Estopa and Antonio, true to the expectations, still doing very well on this pick. Eternum still holding the full combo alongside Nanoya and Chamosiala, so
yeah,
really solid stuff from Romania.
Immediately, Romania is looking pretty good on this, but we haven't really approached the spikier stuff yet. The intro of the map is just a very, very small part of it. It does show comfortability, I will say. Antonio actually dropping his FC, that is not going to be good for Spain. Romania now looking to just pull straight ahead.
Yeah, unfortunately, the consistency from the previous round not carrying over into the first pick during the round of 16 for Spain, and Estopa as well drops down for them. It is only Hideki on the reverse choke right now, and he drops down as well. That is a four-way drop for Spain, and it being halfway through the map with 3 full combos still up for Romania. SS for Eternum still going strong halfway through here.
Oh, you said it. That was a mistake.
That's my specialty, Will. But yeah, this is a very one-sided affair at this point for Romania, still with 3 FCs going into the second half.
Yeah, I think it would take a miracle for Romania to sort of lose this map at this point. Everyone is looking very, very comfortable. Not even really a sign of nerves at this point. We've been seeing some shakes from Spain at the beginning of this map. Absolutely nothing coming out of Romania at the moment. Yeah, and as I said, Chamosiala really showing his stuff right here with this aim. Looking only, I think he's only got like 3 100s right now. This is looking like a really strong performance coming from Romania, and especially because this is Spain's pick, this is actually gonna, I feel, set the tone for this match. But we are gonna see. I want to see how long Eternum can hold this for.
You see a drop from both Chamosiala and Christy over on the side of Romania, so it's not going to be 3 FCs going into the end of the map, but it is still Nanoya and Eternum holding those FCs.
Yeah, you did mention Nanoya. You're definitely looking to be sort of your suspicions are confirmed that he is one of their better street players, and I think Eternum might actually close this out.
Is he gonna do it? Is he gonna hold on to it all the way through the end? Will he do the thing?
The glitch. And he does. Wow. That is impressive from Eternum. My goodness. I think that's the first SS we've seen on this so far.
Yeah, we saw 1/100 play earlier this weekend, but we have not seen an SS on this map. So that is the probably first and only SS that we are going to see this weekend. We don't have that many matches left up after this, so
yeah,
really
I think we have
solid
just
stuff
one
from Eternum.
Yeah, that is a statement, I will say. 2 FCs, 1 SS, and then a 600, almost 700k score to follow up against Spain. That is pretty difficult. That is a pretty difficult loss to take on their first pick, and an immediate hit and 1 pick from Romania. Very, very expected. just it's a slow aim map. I think we're going to expect to see Badeu immediately coming in for this. And then I'm not sure who fills out. Probably going to see Afterwind. Yep, there he is. Afterwind coming in as well. And then I know you're going to be staying in as well for Romania. I'm not sure who their fourth will be. But amborgesa coming right back in for Spain.
I actually think their fourth might be eternum for this. He did play Hidden One twice in the qualifiers alongside these three players for Romania. The fact that it is just an aim map definitely helps a lot, right? Eternum obviously does not prefer the hidden modification, but this is AR 9.4, it's CS 3.8, very comfortable metadata overall, despite the fact that it is, you know, a little bit awkward in terms of the patterning. We actually see Chamosiala come in instead. Okay.
That is an interesting one. I don't know Camo for his hidden skill, but I think that this is probably conventional enough, even with that awkward aim, that he probably is pretty good on this. It's only 6.4 stars. Star rating might be a little bit misleading, but I do think that this is probably enough for him to play. And then we do see amborgesa and NHarmonia coming in. NHarmonia also not notably a huge fan of hidden. He's more of a hard rock player, but like this probably is like as easy as you can get for a like non-standard hidden player. Like, you know, I think that this is probably going to be like, this is something that most players can play.
It's the most accessible hidden map that we have, right? It's very standard in terms of the metadata. The patterning is, sure, it's a little bit uncomfortable for jumps, but it's still just a jump map with some bursts here and there, right? Like it's nothing all that tricky. Like it's not some super high density, high BPM and AR9 hidden one that you see in some tournaments. So
yeah, it's largely a consistency test. But I mean, then again, I mean, NoMod 2, as we did just talk about, it's more of an aiming requirement, which is like, that is like technically a bit of a consistency test as well in terms of NoMod 2. So maybe Romania is looking to just sort of abuse those like, those shit misses, I guess, for lack of a better term. Like, it's not really if you are not feeling super consistent on this, then you can die. You can really mess up very easily.
Yeah, inconsistency on a pick like this is really damning. We saw it in Chile versus Russia just an hour ago, where Chile picks into this, and Russia, being the early stage team that they are, just doesn't miss on the map, and so comes out on top. When you have four players who are that consistent on it, it is such a powerful pick, especially with it being 4 minutes. Notably, this is the first time we see Bairechuu in the bracket stage. He did not play a map in the round of 32. I believe this is also the first map that we've seen him play in the hidden pool, even including qualifiers. So for Spain, putting him in on this map. The rest of the rosters for both of these teams looking pretty comfortable, though. Slight accuracy lead for Romania right now. Bairechuu and NHarmonia struggling a little bit on the AC in particular for Spain, but hey, 4 full combos to 4, solid start. There goes NHarmonia, though, does drop that combo down. Yeah, that drop from NHarmonia is not going to be good. That is going to cut his score by about 250k. And Bairechuu, as you just said, his first map in this bracket stage does drop. I think that might have been a bit of a misplay to put him in for this, honestly. The first, like, to have this be your first map is very like nerve-wracking, I would say. Like, you can absolutely there's a lot of pressure to perform on a consistency map, especially if it's like your first map. At this level, it's like a nerves test, right? Like, it's not at the level of a mechanics pick where you really are being tested on your upper limit mechanics, right? Even to get into the top 5k, most players are full comboing 7-star maps plus to put them into their tops, right? So this is not at the level of mechanics where you're really testing the upper end for most of these players. The vast majority of players here miss because of inconsistency or because of nerves. So having your first map be this kind of consistency-based nerve test is really tough for a lot of these players. And Antonio, unfortunately for Spain, it just isn't looking quite as consistent as he was last weekend. Does drop that full combo during the second KI time. Just amborgesa left up against what is still a 4-way full combo coming out of Romania right now, over halfway into the map.
Right now, this is just an absolute clinic being put on by Romania here. I think it does just it's just a testament to the depth of their tournament roster at this point. We do see a break from Chamosiala, but still with that 3-way, about 3/4 of the way into the map, this is looking to be an absolute blowout of a pick for Romania. With this guitar solo, I think that this is where the nerves will start to kick in for those less experienced tournament players, but Romania is just looking so good on this. Badeu does find a miss on that higher intensity aim, but it just does not matter with those breaks from NHarmonia and Antonio.
And even if we do see breaks for both Afterwind and Nanoya at this point, and amborgesa just SSs the rest of the map, it still won't matter, right? That's how large the score lead is. We are over 600k in the favor of Romania. This is just the super one-sided pick, a very, very solid first pick for Romania, and an easy consolidated breakpoint for them right at the start of the match, up 2-0.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a bit of a momentum builder for Romania. Spain really needs to pick properly here if they want to get on the board. Eventually, I do think that the momentum may be too much to stop, but if there is a point for it to be sort of shifted, then it would be this next pick. Probably going to try and keep Badeu out of the lobby yet again. I do think that DT is probably a good pick for them at this point, but we're going to see here. Yeah, Romania with 3.4 million team score. That is super impressive. 2 FCs and 2 700k thereabout, if you just average it together. Very, very impressive.
Yeah, that is a very, very solid overall team score for Romania. I mean, when even your lowest player is still 650k, right? Higher than 3 out of 4 players on the opposing team, you know you had a really good run there. That is even compared to some of the winners bracket teams, right? Super, super solid team score for Romania. This is a pick that surprises me, though, from Spain. NoMod 4, Hesperos coming in as their next pick. This is the tech map in NoMod, the heavy slider-focused pick. Lots of cut streams in this map as well. Pretty typical new-gen tournament tech map. Lots of really wonky-looking sliders, but none of them with slider ticks like last weekend, so it's a little bit easier to deal with some of those sliders. The reason I say this is a little bit interesting is because we do have some very solid tech players on the side of Romania, notably Badeu, who just full combos almost every single tech map in sight in tournament play, right? But last weekend in the round of 32, Spain put up a very, very solid score on this against Canada. They had a over 3 million team score on that NoMod 4 pick and a full combo from Antonia, plus a 860k from NHarmonia. So this is not a roster that is bad at tech. It's only a little surprising because of the caliber of tech players on the Romanian team. But you know, pick into your own strengths early on. That is definitely a solid strategy, one way or another.
Yeah, it's definitely a good strategy. As you did say, though, Antonio and NHarmonia, very, very solid tech players for Spain. But I do think that picking a tech map into a roster that has Chamosiala and Badeu and Eternum is very, very risky, especially at this low of a stage. This is like, it's obviously very difficult, but in terms of tech maps, this is more of that consistency test. Round of 16 is not meant to test the upper limits of that type of thing, but like, yeah, this is very, very interesting strategy coming out from Spain. Oh, NHarmonia actually, it appears, not going to be playing this. Oh, wait, no, he's just having connection issues.
Yeah, it happens every once in a while for some players in the tournament. We get a little connection issues, make them reconnect to the tournament server and get them back in the lobby. But one thing we can talk about a little bit at least is the qualifier scores for both of these teams before we get into it. We did see Bairechuu actually play the NoMod 4 in qualifiers for Spain on at least one of their runs. He actually played it on both of them, and Spain had an inconsistent qualifiers. They had one score in qualifiers that was under 2 mil and one that contests Romania at the very least at 2.6 mil. Romania having a 2.6 mil and a 2.8 mil score on qualifiers with, I believe it's this almost the exact same roster. We do see Chamosiala come in for nanoya and Lucrise come in for Afterwind. So this is a little bit different for both of these teams compared to what they ran with in qualifiers on the tech map. We'll see if any of those changes do benefit them one way or another. Romania not playing the NoMod tech pick in the round of 32, so no information there, but you already know exactly who to look out for on this map. We'll see if some of these carry players can keep the pants on and if some of these supporting scores can really do the backup that they need.
Yeah, it appears that NHarmonia did wind up having some connection issues, so they are going to be replacing him with Bairechuu, going to be their 4th for Spain. I hope that does not affect the outcome of this map too much. I don't think that he was going to be on their initial roster, but we're just gonna have to find out. Hopefully he is not too nervous with having to just be like, you know, forced into the map like that. But yeah, we are gonna get into this very shortly.
Map does not give you any time to get adjusted to it. Right into a heavy slider-based section. We do see an early slider break from Antonio on the roster for Spain. We do see Bairechuu come in for Spain as well. So, NHarmonia subbing out there. Amborgesa instead still staying in. Badeu, Eternum, Chamosiala, and Lucrise still in for Romania. But as you said, hopefully Bairechuu not going to be super nervous due to coming in last second like this. He does find that slider break early on. Some of these early breaks not going to matter too much though. We are still within that first quarter of the map where it's really not super impactful. We'll see if it does end up being a deciding factor later on. But Bairechuu having a little bit more adjustment issues than Antonio. He's made a fairly solid recovery, only down about 60 combo or so.
Yeah, this map is pretty long, so breaks at this stage aren't really going to matter that much unless we see just like, you know, 8-way FC for the rest of the map, which this map gets pretty tough. I don't think we're going to be expected to see that. However, Romania looking very, very strong as we were approaching the halfway point. Still only, yeah, still 4-way FC. Notably, this does have a few streams, but notably not very, very good with the left hand, but it doesn't look to be affecting him too much. Still holding at 99% FC. Lucrise and Camo bringing up the rear with 98% and 97.8 respectively. But Spain has recovered pretty nicely. Only Bairechuu with those continuous breaks. Antonio with that early slider break, but Estopa and amborgesa still holding the 2 FCs. Romania is still going to be leading by about 200,000 points. And amborgesa dropping the FC is going to be so bad for Team Spain. Bairechuu following up immediately behind. That is... I don't know if it's nail on the coffin status yet, but it is quickly getting there.
Okay, I was gonna say, what is this run from Romania, though? Finally, we see some drops from their side. But this is still a fantastic overall team score. Chamosiala and Lucrise make it over 2/3 of the way in before finally dropping. Badeu as well drops the FC. It's actually Estopa matching the FC from eternum, and then Antonio with a completely unanswered high combo. But there goes Estopa for Spain. And now look at this score lead for Romania. Those extra high combos that were building up all map long for them on Chamosiala and Lucrise really did a lot of work creating that score lead for them. And despite Antonio being able to just about match the score coming out from eternum, it's not going to be enough. The full team consistency once again for Romania is there. It speaks to, you know, Will, you said it earlier, the depth of the tournament roster for Romania this year is phenomenal compared to what it has been in previous years. This is a very strong team, and they show it off once again here on Spain's second pick.
Yeah, we actually also have 3 S ranks coming out from Spain, but no FCs, unfortunately. I do think that it is very unfortunate that they did have to put Bairechuu in, because I think that if they had had just a couple 100,000 more score, this map would have been far more contested. But, you know, connection issues, it does happen. Very, very unfortunate for Team Spain. And just like that, Romania immediately picking free mod 1. Very, very expected pick, I believe. This is just, you know, pretty standard AR8 CS5. This is a pretty normal free mod map. I think we're going to be expected to see Badeu taking hidden on this. Probably Eternum Hard Rock, and then maybe Lucrise and Chamosiala as the anchors for NoMod. And then Spain, I think we could probably expect to see NHarmonia coming in, taking the Hard Rock, Antonio on hidden, and then Estopa and amborgesa on NoMod. That is my mod predictions. We do see NHarmonia coming in immediately. So we will see if I'm correct.
This map is a little odd in this stage, right? It's a map where a lot of teams have been over-modding because for some players it's just that much easier on Hard Rock than it is on NoMod, just because it is a very basic sort of map, and on AR8 some of the overlaps on this are a little bit tricky, whereas on AR10 they are really, really simple instead. So despite the higher circle size, sometimes it really is just that much better for your team to overmod Hard Rock. We saw Canada take the full 7 modifications, 3 hidden Hard Rocks and 1 hidden only, the maximum number of mods that you can take on any free mod pick. So it's definitely an overmod sort of map. We'll see if we get any of that, but honestly, I think for Romania, with the members that we see in right now, it's probably just Badeu hidden, eternum Hard Rock, and like you said, we're looking to probably Antonio and Estopa to take the mods. They've just been so consistent. They might actually just put them on NoMod, though, if they want some of those NoMod carries, right? If you want some of that extra consistency for your best players, you look to just a couple of people to really put the carry on for you, put on the show that you need, and maybe they can pull it off on this one.
Yeah, they could stick Christie with hidden and just let badeu take NoMod, but I don't think that will happen. Yeah, badeu does take the hidden. Eternum running NoMod. Very surprising, which means that Christie, by process of elimination, must be their Hard Rock player. That is a little bit surprising, but we do see the overmod you were mentioning coming out from Spain. We have a hidden Hard Rock from NHarmonia, Antonio on Hard Rock, and then amborgesa on hidden. Very surprising, I think. I honestly didn't expect to see overmods on this, just because I do think that this is a bit easier on, you know, NoMod, but, you know, that might just be slight bias on my part. However, we do see we do see early breaks coming out from Antonio and amborgesa. This is also one of the longer ones, about 3 minutes long, so this isn't going to matter just yet. But Romania is going to take that very early score lead, just because, you know, no breaks. I am kind of surprised to see Eternum running NoMod on this, though. He is no slouch at AR8, but I would have imagined that he's a lot more comfortable on CS 6.5 AR10 on a map of this caliber.
It's definitely a little surprising, yeah. You can see on NoMod some of these overlaps that are a little bit tricky compared to on Hard Rock, where, you know, the notes just sort of disappear or don't come in fast enough to really create any of those overlaps, which does make it a little bit easier on that Hard Rock for some players, and it's definitely a surprise to see him on NoMod, but we see that inconsistency come out again from some of these mod players for Spain. amborgesa having a little bit of trouble with that hidden mod, whereas, you know, on the other side, I think hidden is objectively the hardest way to play this map. It's been pretty well decided on by most of the players that hidden is definitely the hardest way to play this. It's of course harder than NoMod, and with how comfortable this map is on AR10, hidden just becomes that much more difficult. When you compare badeu on hidden on this sort of map to most other players in the game, he definitely comes out on top the majority of the time, holding that 99.5% full combo right now, as we see another couple breaks come out for these mod players on Spain, amborgesa and NHarmonia both dropping down. And this is still a 4-way full combo from Romania. This team's free mod prowess is just absolutely insane in this tournament, with how, you know, you have two carry players in badeu and Eternum who are almost foils of each other, right? Eternum preferring the Hard Rock, the more stamina-intensive picks, and badeu preferring the reading, the lower BPM picks, and then you even have wild cards like Christie, who just comes in, takes the Hard Rock, and still holding that full combo, right? This is a crazy free mod team for Romania.
Yeah, this is kind of actually ridiculous. I don't think we've actually seen a 4-way on this map yet. USA got very, very close the other day, but I don't think that that still did have a very, very early break from Taquito, I believe, in the beginning. I want to see if Romania can close this out. But as I was saying before, this does speak to the depth and experience of Romania in general. They definitely know their team to the T. They know exactly what they need to pick. Christie does unfortunately drop the Hard Rock FC right at the end, along with Lucrise on the NoMod, but still probably going to hit about 3.5 to 3.6 million team score on this. Very, very impressive from Romania. Unfortunately, Spain just not able to match up on this.
I mean, the lowest score for Romania is still over 800k on this map. This is just a crazy run. Like, sure, you don't get the 4-way full combo, but it's 3 S ranks, a 1 miss for Lucrise is your lowest score, 819k. I mean, that is just, it's just something else, man. This is a crazy score line from Romania, and it was talked about a little bit in, you know, before the tournament, when people were comparing rosters and looking at exactly how good all of these teams are, that Romania has the potential to make it really deep into this tournament on some of these free mod picks by abusing some of the no-mods and free mods. And this is exactly why, because the roster fits together so well on these maps where you can put in players who, you know, have skill sets that overlap just enough on some of these free mod picks to really make them a super powerful combination.
Yeah, absolutely. And that combination is just not going to allow Spain to get a point on the board. Not just yet. It is 4-0 in favor of Romania. Spain is in a dire situation. They need to pick absolutely perfectly or they are going to be out of this tournament. I think at this point, I don't know what to pick. I would maybe chance like NoMod 1. No, they go NoMod 5. They opt for more mechanics. This one is definitely knocking badeu out of the lobby. But don't know if this is like... I don't know about this pick.
So this is it's an interesting one for sure. I think that this is still a pretty solid pick overall for Spain. In their matchup versus Canada last weekend when they were against them, they just had a consistent enough team score to actually get a point on NoMod 5 up against Canada. That was one of the 2 points that they won, was NoMod 4 and NoMod 5. And it was in particular because their lowest score was 630k out of AbejaIvan, right? This is a team that has overall consistency on multiple members on this pick, whereas for Romania, they played NoMod 5 last weekend as well. You got a member below 500k on that pick and no full combos coming out for anybody on the Romania squad. But we saw what happened on NoMod 2. We've seen how this team has pulled out the stops in this match. They clearly came prepared for this loser's bracket match, and we'll see if that preparation is enough to enable the 5-0 from Romania, or whether Spain is just that good and that consistent on these early round speed picks that they can at least put themselves on the board. The comeback starts, it has to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a map where if you lose focus for just 1 second, you can absolutely just tank your score. It is very, very easy to lose a lot of score on this, especially with how fast it is and how dense the combo is. Like if you lose a little bit of focus on your left hand, like you can drop like 6, 7, 8 notes in a row, have to catch back up on a couple streams. Like you can go from 99 to 96 in like the blink of an eye if you are not absolutely ready for this map. It is worth noting that Romania has shown a little bit more consistency at this point in the tournament, so it is, I think, on paper favorite to Romania, especially with their roster. Eternum, Nanoya, Camo, and Lucrise. It's going to be, I think, exactly the same roster from NoMod 2, and we saw how that went. So I think Spain does have the work cut out for them, but as you said, Spain definitely no slouches at speed themselves. They were able to take this off of Canada, who notably have a very, very solid speed roster this year. So it's possible. They can totally take this.
We'll have to see how this one goes. We do see everybody getting into this, no problems for this map. Solid 300k advantage for Spain right off the back, with AbejaIvan not getting the score reset out of the gate. There we go.
Nice.
Now we got the handicap here for Spain, the 300,000 score handicap at the start of the map. But we do see some early misses come out for both AbejaIvan and Chamosiala on either side. It's Hideki, Estopa, and Antonio joining AbejaIvan, and Eternum, Nanoya, and Lucrise joining Chamosiala right now. I think Antonio is frozen at the moment. I don't know if that's connection issues or what's going on there. We do see another break come out from Estopa and AbejaIvan as well. So this early consistency for Spain is really not there at the start of the pick, and this is a relatively short map, less than 3 minutes in this one.
Yeah, the score gap is a little bit artificial, and if Antonio is FCing right now, which he very well may be, then this is probably a bit more like a 50 to 60k score gap. But right now, this is the Eternum show, holding a 99.86 FC about halfway through. That is really, really good accuracy for a map like this. But Hideki not far behind, even though he is dropping a little bit of combo. I don't know what's going on with Antonio. I think he should come back in just a second here.
The problem for Spain, though, is that even if Antonio is full comboing, look at these 3 full combos for Romania, right?
Yeah.
Eternum, Nanoya, and Lucrise. This team, I said something about it right before this map started, that, you know, the consistency on the day for Romania, the preparation for this match was definitely top-notch. They've been putting up fantastic scores all throughout it, and that's what is the reason behind this 4-0 scoreline right now, right? Even with that miss from Lucrise, it's still 2 FCs from Eternum and Nanoya. They are just popping off this entire match.
Yeah, I think that even if Antonio SS's this map, that this score gap is actually just going to be too much for him to make up by himself. I think that this is going to be a 5-0 for Romania in the losers brackets, knocking Spain out. Very, very unfortunate, but I'd say it is very well deserved.
I mean, even if Antonio SS's, the max score he can get is 1 million, right? It's well over a 1 million score lead right now for Romania. That is just how dominant this team is at the moment, and very well deserved, as you said. This is a really fantastic score line for Romania. Has a lot of confidence going into the next round. And we see the auto replay right now for Antonio. Not sure exactly how high that score
I have
was.
never seen that in my life. Look at that graph. Look at that beautiful graph.
That's the first time I've seen that kind of bug from the tournament client. Also, that's a new one, even in spite of being on stream for I don't know how many matches in the community tournaments that have gone on for the last 3 years. That is a new one. But congratulations to Romania. That is a well-deserved win. By God, what a one-sided last pick as well. That was really fantastic from them.
Yeah, over 1 million points. That is a very, very definitive win from Romania. And just like that, they are going to be moving on to quarterfinals in the losers bracket. Spain, unfortunately, are going to be seeing a early departure from the tournament, but a well-fought tournament that was.
It definitely was. I think that they definitely set themselves up very well for, you know, building again for next year. They had a really fantastic showing versus Canada in the round of 32. They've got a few players who will absolutely be making it onto next year's team if they do keep it up for the next year. So we want to thank them for playing, make sure that they are noticed for their efforts. They did a fantastic job qualifying into the tournament, but meeting their end here versus a very, very well-prepared Romania. And Romania now, good luck to them next weekend because they are against seed number 5 out of qualifiers. It's Indonesia versus Romania in the losers bracket next weekend. That is a really tough matchup. If they were going to be tested at all, it's definitely next weekend.
That is a match.
Yeah.
That is a match for sure. I don't know what we're going to see out of that, honestly. They have very, very conflicting skill sets, but I think that maybe with luck we could see a pretty interesting tiebreaker, hopefully. But that is going to be it for the Spain versus Romania match. We are now going to be waiting for about 20 minutes up until the final match of this weekend, Mexico versus Turkey in the losers bracket, the final losers bracket match of this weekend.